Have you ever been left wondering what happened? Things seem to be going so well, and then suddenly she disappears. No messages, no explanations, just silence. Or maybe one day she's showering you with attention, and the next it's like you don't exist. It's frustrating, even maddening, right? Let's get real here. Women often play emotional games. If you don't know how to recognize these behaviors and respond with calm and clarity, you risk getting caught in an exhausting cycle of confusion, frustration, and heartbreak. Here's the hard truth: while it's not your fault these games exist, it is your responsibility to recognize and rise above them. Today, I'm going to share 10 powerful strategies that will help you master yourself and face these emotional challenges with the wisdom of Stoicism. These aren't tricks or manipulative tactics. They're time-tested principles that empower you to become the calm in any storm, the unshakable man who others cannot easily sway or manipulate. You're going to become the one in control. Before diving into these 10 strategies, let's tackle the core question: why do these games happen? Why do women sometimes ghost, breadcrumb, or keep men in emotional limbo? The reality is, these behaviors are often tests. Women may use them to gauge your emotional resilience, to see if you can be thrown off balance, if they can make you question yourself, if they can manipulate your actions. And if you lose your footing, you risk losing their respect and, ultimately, your own self-respect. But here's the empowering news. You don't have to play along. You don't have to be a puppet in someone else's emotional drama. Instead, with Stoicism, you'll learn to be steady, composed, and in full command of yourself. You'll discover how to remain calm, resilient, and entirely in control, regardless of what life throws your way. This isn't just about relationships. It's about mastering your life. If you're done being played, if you're tired of the emotional games and ready to reclaim your power, stay tuned. These 10 Stoic strategies can transform how you handle relationships, and they can elevate your entire approach to life. So, don't miss out. Subscribe to Victory in Silence, leave a comment saying, "I'm deserve," and commit to watching this video to the end. Let's unlock your inner strength and bring out the powerful, grounded person you were always meant to be. And don't forget, share this with friends who need this too. Number 1. Detach emotionally. This strategy lays the foundation for all the others: emotional detachment. Now, let's be clear. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop caring about the relationship or the person. Rather, it's about no longer being controlled by your emotions. Most men, when faced with a partner pulling away or acting cold, immediately go into panic mode. Their minds race, searching for solutions, obsessing over every detail, and in many cases, they start acting out of fear. This reaction only shows that they can be easily swayed, which diminishes their strength and, ironically, their attractiveness. But here's the truth: often, when a woman acts distant or changes her behavior, it's a form of emotional testing. She wants to see how you respond, whether you can remain steady under pressure. If you react with desperation, anxiety, or clinginess, you signal that you lack emotional grounding. Instead, true detachment means staying balanced, regardless of whether she's showering you with attention or has gone completely silent. Your emotional state remains calm, unaffected by any game. When you practice this kind of detachment, you project a strength that is rare and captivating. Women find themselves drawn to men who have this resilience because it reflects self-mastery, a quality they respect and are naturally attracted to. This strength isn't about control over others, it's about control over yourself. Number 2, recognize behavioral patterns. Understanding the power of patterns is a critical tool. People, including women, are creatures of habit, and once you start tuning into these patterns, they reveal motivations that may have been hidden before. One of the most common patterns is the hot and cold approach. One day she's fully engaged, texting you nonstop, speaking of future plans, drawing you in deeply. Then suddenly she pulls back, seeming disinterested, leaving you guessing and questioning. This is often an emotional push-pull, intended to keep you chasing and to see how emotionally dependent you are. The Stoic approach here is to recognize the pattern without reacting to it. Understand that it's a test of your emotional stability. If you respond by overextending yourself or asking if you've done something wrong, You're only playing into the game, becoming reactive and predictable. Instead, remain steady and let her come to you on her terms. When you don't react to her push-pull behavior, you shift the dynamics, showing that you are grounded and unfazed, which only increases her intrigue. Another common tactic is breadcrumbing, where she gives you just enough to keep your interest piqued, but never quite follows through. You might get a flirtatious message or a vague promise to meet up, but when it comes to real plans, she's absent. This behavior is an attempt to keep you invested without having to commit fully. The way to handle breadcrumbing is straightforward, calmly and firmly acknowledge it. A response like, "Look, I'm not interested in half-hearted attention. If you're genuinely interested in spending time together, I'd like that, but I'm not here to wait around," communicates that you have standards and respect for yourself. You're not angry, you're not emotional. You're just clear, you have value, and you won't settle for less than a mutual investment in the relationship. This kind of detachment, this recognition of patterns, isn't about winning games. It's about mastering yourself and ensuring that you're in relationships that reflect genuine respect and connection. Number 3. Set boundaries early. Setting boundaries isn't merely a form of self-protection. It's a declaration of self-respect. When you set boundaries from the outset, you communicate that you won't tolerate behavior that undermines your well-being. And here's a truth that might surprise you: most people, including women, actually appreciate these boundaries. Why? Because boundaries reflect confidence and maturity, showing that you're grounded enough to know your own worth. Many men avoid setting boundaries, fearing they'll push people away or come across as controlling. But boundaries aren't about telling her what she can or can't do. They're about setting standards for yourself. They convey, "This is what I expect to feel valued and respected, and I won't settle for less." Take, for example, a situation where she repeatedly cancels plans last minute, leaving you in a lurch. Instead of brushing it off or letting resentment build, address it clearly and calmly. "I've noticed you've been canceling often, and I value reliability. If it's not a priority for you to keep our plans, I'm fine with that. But this back and forth doesn't work for me." But there's no anger, no accusation, just a straightforward boundary based on self-respect. This kind of conversation sends a powerful message. Either she'll step up and honor your time, or she'll move on, leaving you free to invest your energy in someone who values it. By setting boundaries, you're filtering out anyone who isn't willing to respect you, preserving your emotional balance. Now, let's consider a common situation where boundaries are particularly critical. Let's say she likes to flirt with other men in front of you. This could be a test to see if she can get a reaction or gauge how much you care. Many men respond by either suppressing jealousy or reacting with anger. Instead, you might calmly say later, "I'm not interested in playing games. If you want to explore other connections, that's up to you, but I won't stay around for that." Again, you're not emotional, accusatory, or insecure. You're simply stating a standard. With this approach, you're presenting a choice, not an ultimatum. If she values the connection, she'll adjust. If not, you've saved yourself from a potentially toxic situation. Number 4, stay calm under pressure. When it comes to dealing with emotional games, few things are as powerful as staying calm under pressure. Often tests come in the form of subtle provocations. A mention of an ex, flirtatious behavior with others, or even passive-aggressive comments intended to throw you off balance. These moves are designed to provoke a response, to get under your skin and see if you can be shaken. However, by staying calm, you communicate a powerful truth. You can't control my emotions. Imagine she brings up her ex in conversation, saying something like, "My ex used to take me to this amazing restaurant," or, "I had such a fun time with my ex last summer." While most men would react defensively, saying things like, "I don't want to hear about your ex," or, "Are you still into him?" You'll take a different approach. You could simply say, "That's cool. I'm sure he was a great guy." With this response, you're acknowledging her words without giving her the emotional reaction she might expect. Your calmness shows that you're secure in yourself and don't feel threatened. which not only disarms her but also makes her question why her attempts to provoke don't work on you. Consider another scenario. She's flirting with someone else in a group setting, perhaps trying to stir jealousy. Most men would react, trying to compete with the other guy or confronting her about it. But as a Stoic, you'll remain calm, observing the situation without feeling the need to win. Even if there's a sting of discomfort, you don't act on it. Your steadiness conveys that you're not threatened, that you have no need to compete. If her behavior is meant to provoke, your lack of reaction will make her question why her attempts aren't effective. The Stoic principle here is to master your emotions rather than letting them master you. This calm strength creates a magnetic appeal. By refusing to let external events dictate your internal state, you reveal yourself as a man of profound resilience and depth. This emotional control is not only empowering, it's also profoundly attractive. Number 5, focus on long-term goals in relationships. Many men stumble because they get fixated on instant gratification. The fleeting satisfaction of her approval, the dopamine hit from her texts, or the immediate relief of resolving a conflict. But Stoicism teaches us to see beyond these temporary highs. The Stoic path is one of enduring purpose and focus on long-term goals. When you prioritize your life's bigger mission, day-to-day drama loses its grip on you. Imagine you're deep committed to building your career, honing your physical health, or reaching new milestones in personal growth. Are you really going to get caught up in fleeting relationship games? Of course not. You have more important things on your agenda. This focus on long-term goals serves two purposes. First, it makes you far less react to the ups and downs of any relationship, freeing you from emotional dependency on any one person's attention or validation. Second, it makes you inherently more attractive. There's something undeniably compelling about a man who's on a path, driven by a purpose greater than any single relationship. That sense of mission is magnetic. Take, for example, a common scenario: you've been dating someone for a few weeks, and suddenly, she pulls back, becoming less responsive and more distant. Most men in this situation panic, overthink, and try to compensate by chasing her attention. But a man anchored in his long-term vision responds differently. He doesn't panic because his self-worth isn't tied to any one person's attention. He knows that his journey continues regardless of her actions. He has goals to pursue, skills to develop, and a future to build. He recognizes that if she's truly interested, she'll return. If not, he hasn't lost anything significant because he's too busy living his life with purpose. When you ground yourself in long-term ambitions, you become naturally more emotionally self-reliant. You stop needing constant validation because your sense of fulfillment comes from within. From your progress, achievements, and growth. Ironically, this independence tends to make you even more appealing. She realizes you're different. You're not waiting around for her to text back or available at the drop of a hat. You're the man with a vision, too immersed in his path to care about trivial games. This quiet strength speaks volumes, making you not just more resilient but more desirable. Number 6, avoid emotional retaliation. One of the biggest mistakes men make when they feel tested is to retaliate emotionally. She pulls away, flirts with someone else, or makes a comment to get under your skin, and you immediately feel the urge to get even. Maybe she goes silent, so you start withholding your attention in hopes of sparking her interest again. But emotional retaliation is a slippery slope. The moment you react to her games, you've already lost. Why? Because you're letting her control you. A Stoic man understands that reacting out of emotion is a show of weakness. Instead, he responds with calm indifference. When you let her dictate your actions, she holds the power, but when you choose to remain unmoved, the power shifts back to you. Imagine this scenario: you're at a gathering, and she starts flirting with another guy within your line of sight. Most men would either see the in jealousy or attempt to one-up her by engaging with someone else to make her jealous in return. But these reactions reveal insecurity. A Stoic man, on the other hand, remains unfazed. He knows his worth and doesn't feel threatened by superficial tactics. He might acknowledge her actions, but he doesn't react. This calmness sends a clear message: she can't manipulate his emotions. Or consider the classic case of being ghosted. She stops responding, leaving you hanging. Rather than blowing up her phone or devising ways to get her attention, a Stoic man simply moves forward. He withdraws his energy without resentment or anger, recognizing that if she's not invested, he won't waste his own time either. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about knowing that your emotional state doesn't hinge on another's actions. When you avoid retaliating emotionally, you break the cycle of manipulation. Your steadiness conveys that you're not someone who's easily controlled. If she's interested, she'll recognize that she can't sway you with games, and if not, you've preserved your self-respect and saved yourself the emotional toll. By refusing to engage in petty back and forth, you command respect and maintain control of the situation. In both cases, your restraint speaks volumes. You've shown that you're unshackable, refusing to let temporary behavior alter your long-term vision. And in the end, this silent strength is what makes you truly powerful. She'll either respect your boundaries and respond accordingly, or the dynamic will fall away, leaving you free to pursue connections that align with your values. Either way, you've stayed true to yourself, reinforcing your resolve and showing that you're a man with both purpose and self-control. Number 7. Communicate clearly and firmly. In any healthy relationship, effective communication is crucial. However, many people approach it the wrong way, either avoiding difficult conversations entirely or confronting them with unchecked emotions. This often leads to misunderstandings, conflict, and a cycle of unnecessary drama. The Stoic approach to communication is grounded in clarity and restraint, speaking honestly and firmly without being clouded by impulsive emotions. The key is to express your boundaries and needs calmly and assertively, even if a situation is challenging. For instance, if a woman you're seeing is behaving inconsistently, it's natural to feel confused or frustrated. Most men might react by either bottling up their feelings or letting their frustration boil over. But a Stoic man, who values clarity over chaos, addresses the issue directly and without tension. Instead of accusing or demanding answers, he might say, "I've noticed some distance between us lately. I'm not sure if something's on your mind, but I'd like to know if there's something we should talk about." Notice how this approach is grounded in observation rather than accusation. You're calmly addressing the behavior without assuming her intentions or raising your voice. This disarms her because you're not coming from a place of emotional neediness, but of quiet confidence. She sees that you're in control of your emotions, focused on understanding and committed to clarity. By communicating in this way, you establish a tone of respect and honesty. You're not afraid to bring up potential issues, nor are you willing to let them fester into larger problems. This style of communication builds a relationship dynamic rooted in trust, respect, and maturity, not in manipulation or passive-aggressive games. When you consistently communicate this way, she'll recognize that this relationship is built on integrity, where issues are addressed openly rather than simmering beneath the surface. Number 8. To prioritize your own well-being. Ultimately, the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. This is a core truth that too many men lose sight of, especially when they're caught up in emotional games or drawn into manipulative dynamics. If a relationship is consistently making you feel anxious, frustrated, or insecure, it's time to reassess what you're allowing into your life. No person, no matter how enticing, is worth sacrificing your peace of mind, self-respect, or sense of stability. This isn't about being selfish or disregarding others' needs. It's about striking a balance that maintains your emotional health. When you put your own well-being first, you become more attractive, not less. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded and unshackable, who know their own value, and who refuse to let anyone destabilize their inner peace. This commitment to self-respect doesn't just apply to relationships. It's a mindset that influences every part of your life, from your career to friendships and family ties. Imagine you're dating a woman who constantly sends mixed signals. One day she's affectionate and attentive, and the next, she's cold and distant. You might start to question yourself, wondering what you did wrong, or even bending your own behavior to accommodate her mood swings. But in these moments, it's essential to stop and ask, how is this affecting my mental health? If the answer is negative, it's time to take a step back. Withdraw some of your emotional investment and refocus on what genuinely brings you peace and fulfillment. This doesn't mean ignoring her or acting indifferently out of spite. Instead, you channel your energy toward activities that recharge you. Whether that's hitting the gym, advancing a personal project, or spending time with people who genuinely care about you. You owe it to yourself to guard your peace, and when you do, something powerful happens. The moment you stop centering her needs above your well-being, she'll sense the shift. Either she'll begin to respect your boundaries, or she'll drift away because she realizes she can't control you. Either way, you win. In a world that often suggests men should bend over backward to meet others' emotional needs, it's critical to remember that your well-being isn't negotiable. Prioritizing your mental, emotional, and physical health is not just attractive, it's essential. When you make it clear that your peace of mind is invaluable, you instantly become more respected. If someone's behavior begins to compromise your sense of peace, ask yourself, is this worth sacrificing my well-being for? If the answer is no, it's time to recalibrate to get back to what truly matters, you. Number 9. Practice patience. Patience is one of the most powerful yet underappreciated traits you can cultivate, especially when navigating relationships. Many people feel uneasy with the idea of patience. They want answers, clarity, and resolution immediately. Yet in a world driven by instant gratification, the man who practices patience stands out. He's resilient, he's composed, and he's not swayed by temporary shifts in attention or affection. Patience shows that you're different, that you're not just reacting to the situation, but rather controlling your response to it. One of the reasons patience is so powerful is that it places the control firmly in your hands. Imagine this: a woman you're seeing doesn't text back for hours, maybe even days. Most people would immediately start worrying, overthinking, and perhaps sending multiple follow-up messages. But by exercising patience, you rise above these common reactions. You don't panic, you don't flood her phone with messages, and you don't seek answers impulsively. Instead, you let things unfold naturally, confident that in time, her behavior will reveal her true intentions. In doing so, you communicate a powerful message without saying a word. You're not dependent on her immediate validation. You're secure within yourself, and you respect her independence without abandoning your own. This stoic patience makes you a challenge, something that naturally draws interest and intrigue. When you don't fall for every fleeting emotional game, she's forced to recognize your inner strength, and that kind of strength is magnetic. Patience isn't only about waiting on someone else's actions, though. It's about the art of delayed gratification in every part of your life. It teaches you to look at situations through a long-term lens rather than seeking immediate rewards. This mindset can elevate all areas of life: career, personal growth, and relationships alike. When you develop patience, you resist the urge to settle for superficial validation or impulsive reactions. Instead, you cultivate resilience, emotional independence, and a sense of calm that allows you to make thoughtful, strategic moves. A stoic man understands that genuine fulfillment doesn't come from instant gratification, but from progress and purpose that builds over time. By practicing patience, you remind yourself that you're capable of waiting for the right opportunities and people. This mindset alone can save you from getting caught up in temporary dramas, freeing you to focus on what truly aligns with your goals and values. Remember, patience is not about doing nothing. It's about knowing when to act and when to wait, about understanding that sometimes the most powerful response is restraint. In relationships, career, or personal growth, this mindset prepares you for a life where you're not rushed or rattled. You're able to engage fully with the present, recognizing that true success and lasting fulfillment require the discipline of patience. And when you master this, you're not just playing to win the moment. You're setting yourself up for a lifetime of enduring strength and resilience. Number 10. Know when to walk away. Walking away is perhaps the most decisive move in your arsenal. There's a saying that holds powerful truth: the strongest position is the ability to walk away and mean it. Mastering this is key because it signifies the ultimate commitment to your self-respect. This isn't about making a grand exit or stirring drama. It's about calm, deliberate strength. Not every woman or person is deserving of your energy, time, or emotional investment. If someone is constantly testing you, disrespecting you, or stringing you along, the most powerful thing you can do is leave. When you're prepared to walk away, you're showing her that your worth isn't tied to anyone's validation. You're demonstrating that your self-respect is greater than the pull of any attention she might be offering. Here's the paradox of this approach. The moment you truly walk away, you often become even more attractive. Why? Because you're showing that your identity, purpose, and self-respect are rooted within you, not in someone else's validation. Women and people in general are instinctively drawn to someone who values themselves. But let's be clear. This isn't a move to manipulate someone into pursuing you. It's a commitment to yourself. It's about acknowledging your value and refusing to accept anything that diminishes it. For example, if she's been consistently flaking on plans or treating you as a backup option, you don't need to argue or prove your worth. Instead, calmly let her know, I'm not interested in a back and forth. If you're serious about us, let me know. If not, I'm moving on. And then move on. No follow-up texts, no checking her social media, just a clean, confident exit. This response not only shows maturity, but also highlights that your life doesn't revolve around someone else's whims. Sometimes, walking away means closing that chapter for good, and while that may seem challenging, it's often the healthiest, most powerful choice. By walking away, you're reclaiming your dignity, peace of mind, and personal power, all of which are far more valuable than any short-lived relationship. You're saying, I know my worth, and I'm not afraid to be alone if that's what it takes to maintain it. That level of confidence is rare and incredibly magnetic. These 10 principles aren't just tactics for relationships, they're tools for life. When you practice emotional detachment, set clear boundaries, stay calm under pressure, prioritize your own well-being, cultivate patience, and know when to walk away, you transform into a stronger, more grounded man. Remember, this isn't about manipulating or deceiving anyone. It's about mastering yourself, becoming a man in control of his own emotions, time, and direction. When you become that man, you'll naturally attract people who respect, value, and admire you. This is only the beginning. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep applying these principles not only to relationships, but to all areas of life. Your journey to becoming the best version of yourself continues here. If this video has brought value to your life, please support the channel by subscribing to Victory in Silence, giving the video a thumbs up, commenting, "I'm deserve," and sharing it with friends who could benefit. Let's build a community of men who refuse to be manipulated and instead take full control of their lives.